So, my name is Katie, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, 9 things that transform my mental health. And I did write them down in this little journal to kind of help guide me. This is my first time doing a video like this. But a little bit about me. I am 31 years old. And in the past, I guess you could say, I had a lot of struggles with my mental health for a really long time. When I was 6 years old, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I was put on prescription medication, stimulants, Adderall, starting at the age of 6. Shortly after that, I was also put on antidepressants, SSRIs, at the age of 8 for depression. Ever since all of that, as I got older, around the age 13, a lot of things took a really big turn for the worse. And I went through all kinds of things, traumatic things. But just to make a long story short, I have been diagnosed with a few different things when I was younger. When I was 15, they suspected that I had some type of mood disorder and depression. And I struggled a lot with addiction of all different sorts. I started smoking cigarettes at 13 years old, and I started drinking alcohol also at 13 years old. And then I started smoking marijuana at 14 years old. And then I dabbled into all sorts of different things from 15 to 18. I won't really get into all that in this video, but let's just say I was an addict. So I did get over a lot of those issues as an adult, but I still had a lot of anxiety, ADHD symptoms, really bad PMS symptoms every month. And I had been on multiple different medications for all these different symptoms I was having. They even put me on lithium at one time, and the lithium actually caused problems with my thyroid. And then I had to get on Synthroid for subclinical hypothyroidism that was caused from one of the mental health medications I was prescribed. Long story short, over time, my ADHD medications became not very effective. I actually was on almost the highest dose of one of the stimulant medications I could be on, and then I was also added onto another stimulant medication, a different kind, to take in the afternoon at a pretty high dose. So I was on a lot of stimulants. I was also drinking 1 to 3 cups of coffee a day, but I was still falling asleep on my lunch break at work, every day. I was just exhausted all the time. I was super fatigued. I was really, really anxious all the time. Like I said, my PMS every month became really, really bad. So I went and got help. I've always been honest with myself. If I needed any extra help, I am very honest with my doctor. I have always seen a doctor. I go to all my appointments. She prescribed my medications, and I told her I needed a little extra help. So she recommended a 4-week intensive therapy program that I did voluntarily. And I learned a lot there, actually. We had a really cool nurse there, and shout out to her. Her name was Anita, who actually each therapist would come in and do their lesson for the day, and we would just go there like we were going to work And instead of going to work, we would go there, and they would each rotate and each have a lesson for the day. And you did that every day for 4 weeks. You got to go home every night. It wasn't overnight or anything. You got to go there and come back home, kind of like school. And but the nurse who worked there, Anita, her lessons were my favorite. She would come in and she would teach Qigong, which I had never heard of. It's a type of like martial art, energy, Qi type thing. That was really cool. She also always made us do a meditation every day for at least an hour. We would all get a mat out and we would lay down, and sometimes we would listen to like sound healing bowls on YouTube for an hour. Sometimes we would do a guided meditation where there was someone talking. And sometimes it was just like music, but we would lay there with our eyes shut and we would meditate. And I was familiar with meditation. I was kind of already into it. I would do it here and there, but I wasn't really like dedicated to it. And I hadn't done it consistently enough to see like the real benefits of it. So that place, I think I had a really big breakthrough. And I didn't really realize it at the time because I was actually really stressed out when I went there because my ADHD medications weren't working, and I thought they needed to be increased because the doctor kept increasing them because they weren't working like they used to. And I wanted them increased more. But they couldn't do that there. I'd have to wait till I got out of the program. But what ended up happening was after I left the program, shortly after, like a month or two after, I decided, I've been on medication since I was 6 years old. I was now 30. And I just wondered, like, what all these medications were doing to me. And, like, if it's not even working anymore, maybe, just maybe, it's contributing. Maybe I need a break from the stimulants. Like, I was having a lot of negative side effects. I had gotten down to 102 pounds. If I had been 1 more pound less, I would have been underweight. And that was causing me a lot of like blood pressure issues, glucose problems. I really felt like I was dying. It was a physical sickness that had come over me. It was not just mental. But anyways, I wanted to take a break from the stimulants. So I did. And that was really hard for me. I'd been on them my whole life. I was literally physically dependent on them. They are physically addicting. If you take a stimulant every day, your body is going to need it to function. So I did go through some withdrawals from that. It was pretty uncomfortable. And then I was on a few other things. I don't really want to get into all that right now. But once I got rid of the stimulant, my anxiety calmed way down. My central nervous system was way more at peace and relaxed and calm. And I realized that these medications, even though they were no longer helping me, the fact that they were being increased, they were still having an effect on me. They were increasing my anxiety and increasing a lot of other negative side effects. So I have a list of the 9 things that transform my mental health. I'm sure there's more of them, but this is just 9 that I thought of that really, I think, propelled everything forward at first. And I put meditation as number 1. And I already talked about that 4-week therapy and the nurse making us do the meditation. And I really believe that that had a lot to do with my breakthrough. I think the first step was me recognizing I had a problem and that I really needed help and going and seeking help. And then the next part was implementing these things I learned in therapy into my day-to-day life. So I did at least 1 meditation for an hour every day for 4 weeks. And it had a significant impact on me. I was having a lot of trouble stopping nicotine. I was a vapor, and I would actually carry a vape around with me everywhere I went. I went to bed with it in my hand. I couldn't breathe air without the next breath being vape. And I also was smoking cigarettes. I tried to quit so many times, over and over again. I would make a date to quit. I'd write it down on my calendar. But every time I would try to quit, next thing I knew, the vape was back in my hand, and I was back where I started. I had quit vaping and smoking at least twice in my life since I was 13, but I always used nicotine patches to quit. And I successfully quit at least 2 or 3 times in my life, but it never lasted super long. This time, I didn't use patches. It's like the cravings and the addiction were just miraculously removed from me. And that's still something I can't really explain how or why that happened. I didn't make a date on my calendar this time, but all of a sudden, I wasn't a smoker anymore. I wasn't a vapor anymore. And it might have had to do with quitting the stimulants because those were increasing my anxiety, and the anxiety made me crave more nicotine to try to calm me down. So I think it was kind of a package deal there, but that's one of the first miracles I've seen in all this, was just the alleviation of my cravings of nicotine. And I have not smoked or vaped since, and it's been like a year and a half now. So that was amazing. I have not been on mental health medications since then either, August of last year, August 2023, and it is now November 2024, and I still have not needed any mental health medication. My doctor actually said that I'm doing so well. She thinks my brain just recalibrated itself, and I'm doing better than I've done in my entire life. So, meditation. Number 2, positive affirmations. I actually started doing these, I think, before I went to therapy. I didn't have anything to lose, so I just tried whatever I had heard worked, and one of them was positive affirmations. I would just drive around in my vehicle at work every day, and I would just say these affirmations, like, I am healthy, I am happy, I am loved, I am abundant, I am prosperous, I am happy. I just said these things on repeat over and over and over again, and they didn't feel like they were working. They didn't feel like they were doing anything at first, but like I said, I had nothing to lose, and it was one of the only things that kept me going sometimes, because I knew it was better than the negative thoughts in my head. This was one way to force those negative thoughts out of my head and just say positive things over and over and over again on repeat. And I still do that to this day, but it's not, I don't have like a constant negative dialogue in my head anymore. It's kind of natural now. I think more positive thoughts naturally now. So, but if I do ever get into a negative spiral, I know how to reverse it now with my positive affirmations. 3, stretching and physical movement. So you can do yoga, you can do regular stretching, I don't know. I just started doing what felt good to me. I didn't really do a lot of research, but the things that I was doing that felt good for me, I started looking it up, and they're actually a lot of yoga postures, and they can be simple, basic. You don't have to strain yourself or overdo it, but just, gentle movements in the morning and at night is really good. Speaking of qi and qigong, I think the stretching, it gets your qi, your life force energy moving through your body. It loosens things up. There's a whole lot of benefits that go with stretching, and that can be a different video if you want, or you can look it up. But that has really helped me. Physical movement, dancing, somatic movements, physical exercise, a walk. Like I said, you don't have to overexert yourself. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but just some kind of activity, physical movement has been really helpful for my mental health. It releases dopamine, endorphins, all that in your brain. So it's a natural medicine that makes you feel good. And it actually helps your body and your brain. So Number 4 is reading. And I also put audiobooks. So I have ADHD, but as a kid, since I was born almost, my favorite thing was to read books. I was obsessed with books. And when I became an adult at some point, I quit reading books. I couldn't hold my attention span on the words. I would find myself reading the same sentence over and over and over again and not getting anywhere with it. So I started listening to audiobooks and YouTube audiobooks for free. That was a game changer, a lifesaver. I got back into my inner child of loving books and just my thirst for knowledge and learning something new. And I've learned so much from so many different amazing authors and people who have just taught me so much on this journey. I wrote a few authors down that you can get books from, or you can listen to YouTube of them, audiobooks, whatever. Like Wayne Dyer, Louis Hay, Eckhart Tolle, Abraham Hicks, Bob Proctor, Joel Goldsmith. Those are just a tiny little few. And I need to make another video on a lot of the books I have read and videos and audiobooks that have helped me tremendously on this journey. And somehow, after I listened to enough audiobooks, I've actually started reading actual books again. And I have a whole pile of them over there that I plan to read. So I've kind of become my inner child again, where I've gone back to loving books and collecting tons of books, and I can hold the attention to read now, which is another miracle that really is amazing to me. But if I'm ever driving and I can't read a book, I do still enjoy audiobooks too. Number 5 is gratitude. Gratitude is a game changer. The quickest way to turn around a negative emotion, mood, mindset is to start saying things you're grateful for. Get into that genuine frequency of appreciation. It can start with the tiniest little thing. It does not have to be big. It can be a cup of coffee you're drinking. It can be having a good night's sleep. It can be the weather. It can literally be anything and everything. The list goes on and on. And that genuine, authentic feeling of gratitude, it radiates out around you and attracts more and more things to be grateful for. I have seen this happen in real life. And it is truly amazing. It feels good to be grateful. You can either focus on the good or the bad. They both might be true, but which one makes you feel good? The things you're grateful for. So that's the first step you can take in taking control over yourself and your mind and your emotions, is realizing you get to choose one of two things to focus on at all times. Are you going to complain, or are you going to speak positive things into your existence? You get to choose. 6 is feeling all of my emotions, processing trauma, and allowing myself to grieve. A lot of us really stuff down a lot of painful emotions and traumas and things we need to grieve down inside us, and we don't even realize it's there anymore. But it will show up, it will manifest externally in a number of ways. An addiction. And I don't know many people who aren't addicted to one thing or another. Drugs are not the only thing you can be addicted to. It can show up in physical illness. It can show up with just bad things happening over and over and over for no reason. It can be reflected in your relationships. If you're having really toxic relationships with people, or you keep having the same pattern repeat itself externally, those can all be signs that you have some kind of suppressed emotions or trauma that you need to allow to come up, be felt, so they can come out. And that is a whole process. That is not a one-time thing and it's done. That can take years. It can take a lifetime. But every time you feel part of it and you allow it to move through you and out of you, you are slowly clearing your energy channel so that you're able to allow a higher, more divine energy frequency to use you for greater things, for what your purpose is. Because we all have a purpose and we all came here for a reason. And once we get all the mud out of the way that's covering up our light, so our light can shine through us, so we can be of service to others and do what makes us happy. That's what we're all kind of here to do. There is purpose to the pain. There is purpose in the suffering that we've gone through. You just have to allow yourself to feel it and to express it and to grieve. So that's been a huge one. Number 7 is a big one. It is forgiveness. I could make a whole video on this. Probably will. Forgiveness for yourself first. And forgiveness for others. Forgiveness for yourself and others is what frees you from the pain of your past. Frees you from not feeling good enough, not feeling like you're worthy of good things or happiness or joy or peace, good relationships, a good life. We all have to go through things. We've all done things we're not proud of. We've all done things that we have felt shame or guilt about. And sometimes we self-punish because we haven't processed that guilt and shame, and we think we need to hold on to it and punish ourselves. But that couldn't be further from the truth. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be at peace. You deserve to smile, to love, to laugh. You deserve all good things in your life, no matter what you've done, no matter what you've been through. But you have to be willing to let it go. Let go of the past. Let go of who you were. And realize that we are not our mistakes. When we make a mistake, it's never because we're a bad person and we wanted to do bad. It's we made a mistake. That's not who we really are. And if that's not who we really are, why should we hold on to that and let it steal our future from us? Let it steal our joy right now. Let it steal our peace. And that's the whole process in itself. But it is, on the other side of it lies your freedom, lies your peace, lies your joy, your purpose. Number 8 is faith. So faith, another huge one. Sometimes on this journey, I've been through a lot this year, the past 31 years actually. Faith is the one thing that will carry you through the hardest of times. If you don't see what you want to see externally yet, even though you're doing the work, even though you've made the changes, you've felt the emotions, you've done the things, the right things, and you're not seeing the results that you asked for, that you want yet. The one thing that will keep you moving so you don't give up is faith. Like Jesus said, faith is small as a mustard seed can move mountains. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Oftentimes it doesn't happen instantly. That's what the faith is for. It's the trust in the process. The trust that if you plant the seeds, and you water them and you nurture them, that your tree will grow and it will bear fruit. You're not going to see it right away, but the faith, once you see one miracle and you get that faith where you see the fruit, you see the little sprout come out of the dirt, that propels you forward to just have this unshakable faith that gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it is hard at first, before you see any results, before you see any sprouts, before you see anything. That's the hardest part. So there is a hard part here that you have to go through. But faith is what gets you through that part. And it's what gets you through all the hard parts, because there's not just one. There's going to be things that come up, obstacles, challenges, tests. Faith is what gets you through it. Okay. The last one I wrote, number 9, is laughter. So when I was a kid, I made this cute little song where I said, F-U-N spells fun. You have to have fun every day. I still sing that to myself sometimes, because I think that's what my inner child feels, is that you have to have fun every day. Like, what are we doing here if we're not having fun? Like, isn't that the point of all of it, is to have fun? Whenever I was at like my lowest, when I was feeling really depressed, I would just watch really stupid videos on YouTube, just pointless videos, just for the sake of laughing. And I would just sit there and laugh my butt off, like for hours if I had to, just to take my mind off whatever was going on up in here. And let me tell you, the feeling, the relief, laughter alleviates something. It releases something. It gives you these feel-good chemicals, and it's healing. There's actually a guy, I don't remember his name. I learned this from the nurse lady in therapy. I'll have to look up what his name was, but he had cancer or something. And instead of getting all depressed and thinking the worst and crying every day, he started watching I Love Lucy every single day, like all day long on repeat, and just laughed and laughed and laughed. And I believe that ended up curing his cancer 100%. The laughter literally healed his cancer. And there's other stories like that. That's not the only one. How powerful laughter is. That's why they say laughter is the best medicine. So we also have to remember not to always take things so seriously. And one superpower is looking at like a really negative situation that's happening and finding the humor in it, and just releasing all that tension and pain and fear and worry with laughter. And if someone else is going through something, a hard time, you can make them laugh. It's a way to love them. It's a way to lighten the mood, to take away some of the stress, the tension, and it has healing abilities. I'll have to do some research on that and look up who the guy was who had cancer, who watched I Love Lucy. But that's a true story. So that's all I have right now. Through all these things, I have been medication free like a year and a half. No vapes or cigarettes, year and a half. I don't drink alcohol ever. I don't like alcohol. I don't do any drugs, anything at all. No weed, no nothing. I don't have cravings. I eat healthier. I do have my moments. I am not perfect. But I'm more mindful about what I eat. And I eat a lot more fruit. I just drink water. I don't drink soda. I don't drink really anything other than water for the most part. I try to stay decently active. I could definitely always do better with that. I don't have like a strict workout regimen. I want to start being more active as well. But the point is, I have seen life-changing results in the past year. Those aren't the only things. There's a lot of other things. I got a new job, a new career that I love. I'm making more money. My bank account is steadily growing. It's grown more than it ever has in my life, and I give all the glory of that to God and to the changes internally showing up externally. And there's a lot of other things that have happened that have been miraculous. Things that I never thought were possible for me have become possible in a very short amount of time. And I'm honestly blown away by it. I never thought I would be here saying this. I never thought I'd be here recording a YouTube video, because I really have always been very insecure and terrified to talk in front of a camera like this. But there's just a little bit of my background, a little bit of what's going on, so you can get to know me. Feel free to like my video if you happen to watch it. I did not mean to make it this long. It's really long. And let me know in the comments if there's anything you want me to go deeper on, that you want me to talk about. If you have any questions, if you like this video, if you didn't like this video. That was just 9 things that transform my mental health. I will continue to post videos and give you updates along my journey, and maybe make some more little videos like this. But thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. And FUN spells fun. You have to have fun every day.